Nigel Cecil, calling things out as you like it, especially for his fair-minded friends.
Hello, chuckabouters. Nigel Cecil here, moi, as my regular viewers will know, an entertainment entrepreneur and also somewhat of a legend in my own lunchtime. But setting that aside, let's get on with this rather expeditious and prompt video, because I'm responding to some of my fair-minded, equitable friends who've been in touch and said, Nigel, please can you give us your immediate reaction to a programme on GB News this evening? The People's Forum, Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, meeting the people, admirably hosted by Stephen Dixon. But of course, I was at the gym when they called, so I quickly returned home and looked at the video. And these my comments. Well, my friend said, Nigel, put on your media coaching training expertise hat and tell us what you think. I mean, all meant, as I've said, in the best possible taste to them. So here we go. What do you think? Right? Right, Hillary? What do you think, Hillary? Right? Well, why have I chosen the word right? Because, well, the Prime Minister kept saying right. Well, this is my policy, right? Right? You agree, right? But the Prime Minister didn't give anyone the opportunity to respond. It was just right. If you're not going to give the people the opportunity to respond, Prime Minister, don't use the word right, because it looks as though you're being discourteous. Now, some will say, Nigel, you're nitpicking. No. Because those who think that the bulk of us now start discussing the minute detail of the questions that were asked, no. We look at the overall ambience, the image of the Prime Minister, the body language, the expressions on the face, what they are doing. And at the end you say, has it conveyed a feeling that they put us first? They've got our answers, our interests first. Because if they don't understand the answers they're going to get from the people, they don't realise they've got to put the people first, then they won't get the votes, because the people eventually realise, and social media even makes them more realise the fact, without their votes, you can't become anything in politics. And that's why, towards the end of the programme, well, right at the end really, the Prime Minister made a very, very important, impressionable mistake. And this is it. But of course, they may not have been given the full information by the production team. So I can't apportion blame. I'm only looking at the instances. And indeed, when Nigel Farage and Jacob Rees-Mogg earlier said, well, this is the first time a Prime Minister has put themselves before an audience live, let's see what happens. No, it isn't. No, it isn't, because one of my fair-minded alter ego equitable friends, well, they were chosen, and it was certainly a bit of a choice, to be the warm-up person at Yorkshire Television some years back when Tony Blair was Prime Minister, because Tony Blair did a live Meet the Prime Minister. And it wasn't this nice setup that was done by GB News. No, this was like a parliamentary House of Commons bear pit. Why? Because there were some 200 persons there, all around, yes indeed, three sides, tiered up there. And Tony Blair was in the middle on a rostrum with guardrails round three sides, so they couldn't move far. And so, because otherwise they'd have fallen off. And so they addressed all the people. And other than one of the Dimbleby Fameless broadcasting family introducing the programme and closing the programme, they took no part. It was the Prime Minister meeting the people. And who chose the questions? The Prime Minister. And who decided how long he was going to answer? The audience. Because they were saying, "Oi, I've got my question. Hey, ask me." And it all became rather lively. There was no Stephen Dixon to suddenly interact and calm it all down again. No, it was getting livelier and livelier, open quietly, and then slowly built up. But there was the 2 commercial breaks. Now, the first commercial break, the warm-up guy was able to interact a little, but was making sure the audience, the fervour that was growing in the audience, didn't die away. And so when it came to the second part, they was all saying, "Yes, I want my question. And this is the importance of having a good media team, because Alastair Campbell, do you know Alastair Campbell? Do you remember Alastair? Well, just before it came to the second commercial break and things were getting rather lively, said, "Excuse me, Mr. Warm-up man, could you just come here and could you give this little note quietly and discreetly to Tony?" So the warm-up person did, quietly and discreetly to Tony. And Tony read it, and the outcome of the programme completely changed. What was on that note? Well, maybe our fair-minded, equitable warm-up man might eventually tell us. But it was still a lively programme. The people realised that they had the Prime Minister and they were going to interact, come hell or high water. And Tony Blair faced it all. So, what happened now? You're saying, well, Hillary's asking. Right, Hillary, yes. What's it all about? Well, you see this here. Remember what I said. The people come first. And if I was Keir Starmer, I'd be able to make mincemeat of Rishi Sunak tomorrow, because Rishi was clearly enthused to get his message across. No. Collect the people's message. So when it came towards the end of the programme and Stephen Dixon walked on with the People's Forum box, Rishi is obviously determined. Well, the box, yeah. Oh, nobody's asked a question about economy. Surely should have asked a question about economy. No, Rishi, they never asked it. So keep your mouth shut, please, and deal with that box. But no, Prime Minister's determined to give their answer, what they want to say about the economy. Now, it may be that the production team didn't remind or inform the Prime Minister about the box. Now, if that's the case, well, that's a bit remiss of someone, because maybe Rishi didn't realise what it was all about. But those were questions that had been sent in by hundreds, if not thousands of viewers, in the hope that their question was going to be asked and the Prime Minister would answer it. But in one foul swoop, the Prime Minister, maybe inadvertently, without thinking of it, said, well, all those questions don't matter. I'm going to answer my chosen question about the economy. So if it comes to a test, I have to say that the Prime Minister hasn't met up to expectations of putting the people first. Will Keir Starmer do better? But of course, you'll be saying, well, if the Prime Minister wanted to ask that question, how could he have got out of it? Well, the answer is easy. When they finished answering the question, they said, "Oh, Stephen, I must apologise to everyone. I should have taken a question from that box. But now I'm going to do even better. Because, Stephen, may I take this box away with me? And I will guarantee that I will read all those questions individually. And as far as possible, if there is a contact detail on that question, I will respond to that person personally." Now suddenly you've got it all back together, and that's what it's all about. Putting the people first. Will the Prime Minister do that? Or next time, will he put his hand in the box and take the question and put the people first. GB News, well done for that programme. And let's have a little bit of raucous meeting the Prime Minister. Let the people's voice be heard. GB News, the People's Forum.